Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're setting our sights on one of the most recognized urban landscapes anywhere, really, the New York City skyline.
It's iconic, no doubt.
Absolutely. But this isn't just, a scenic flyover. Our mission today, looking at these sources we've gathered, visuals, history, the whole lot, is to really get at the core insight. We want to understand that essential difference between, say, admiring the skyline from a distance peacefully versus experiencing its, towering, intense reality right up close.
Yeah, it's like a study in urban perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're exploring how the exact same structures, the same glass and steel, can give you two totally different feelings.
Yeah.
It all depends on, where you're standing, your angle. We're sort of tracking that moment when the beautiful picture across the water suddenly snaps into focus as this bustling, high-energy environment when you're actually in it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We'll follow the journey laid out in the sources. And that starts, interestingly, with what they call the perfect prelude. Crossing the Hudson, standing in Hoboken, New Jersey. Ah, Hoboken.
A city that definitely punches above its weight. It's got that famous nickname, right? The Mile Square City.
That nickname nails it.
Yeah.
It's geographically tiny, but the sources paint it as incredibly vibrant, full of charm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got the classic brownstones, lively little cafes, and crucially for our conversation, these amazing waterfront parks. They give you that completely clear sightline.
And that uninterrupted view, that's the whole point of starting there, isn't it? You're not seeing individual buildings so much.
The single composition,
Yeah.
exactly. A cohesive, just breathtaking panorama.
So where are the best spots, according to the sources?
Well, they really highlight Pier Park and also the Stevens Institute Terrace. From up there, they detail this incredible visual scope. Yeah, the whole sweep of Manhattan is laid out for you. Your eye travels like from the Statue of Liberty anchoring the South End,
Okay.
past the financial district, all the way up north to those, shimmering towers in Midtown. It's all there. What I find fascinating here is how the sources really focus on the sensory isolation that distance gives you. You're looking at this massive engine of human activity, but silently. You're separated by the river.
That distance, it creates abstraction. That's the key. You lose the noise, the chaos, right?
Yeah.
The traffic, the shouting, the sirens, it all fades away. And you're just left with the form. The architecture itself, it becomes almost sculptural, not a working city. And that's why they keep calling the Hoboken experience tranquil.
And that tranquility, it's really amplified by the light, apparently. The descriptions here are pretty stunning.
Oh, the light.
They talk about dawn, that specific moment when the sun first catches all the glass facades. It doesn't just light them up, it transforms them.
That detail really matters. I mean, think about modern skyscrapers.
Yeah.
So much glass, right? These curtain walls, and the sun hitting them at that low angle. It's not just yellow, it literally paints the skyline. Golds, pinks.
Yeah, it creates this almost ethereal quality. The sources use the word cinematic.
Cinematic is good. Ethereal works too. It
Yeah.
gives you this moment of just peaceful admiration. The scale of Manhattan feels, approachable, almost dreamlike from over there.
You're admiring the idea of New York, maybe, filtered through the sunrise.
Exactly. And it acts as this necessary psychological buffer. You appreciate the city as this beautiful thing, this artwork, before you plunge into the raw energy of how it actually functions.
Without that calm first look, the shift would be, probably pretty jarring.
Too jarring, definitely.
Speaking of jarring,
Right.
let's make that transition. We're crossing the Hudson now. And whether you're, stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel or on the PATH train,
Which is loud and fast.
right, that journey itself, physically and emotionally, it marks this sharp shift. Goodbye, tranquility. Hello, dynamic, intense energy.
You feel it instantly. The volume just cranks up. The buildings feel closer, more aggressive somehow. The moment you step out, whether it's from the train or the tunnel, the skyline isn't a vista anymore. It becomes, as the sources say, a towering reality. You're inside it, surrounded, almost, frankly, overwhelmed by the density.
So we land in Lower Manhattan, which the sources rightly call the physical and historical birthplace of the city.
The ground zero, literally and historically.
And here, the whole feeling shifts. It's not about the panoramic sweep anymore. It's about vertical pressure. You feel the height.
And in this immediate area, there's one structure that just completely dominates the view now. It anchors the modern perspective.
Right.
One World Trade Center.
Often called the Freedom Tower.
Right, the Freedom Tower. And it's loaded with meaning, isn't it? It's more than just another skyscraper.
Definitely. The sources really emphasize its role as a symbol, resilience, renewal.
Right.
It speaks volumes about the city's ability to rebuild, to aim higher.
And what's so crucial to grasp down there in Lower Manhattan is that every single block feels like this collision between past and present.
How so?
Well, you have the tower itself, sleek, modern, all glass. And it stands in such stark contrast to the historic neighborhoods right around it. That friction, that contrast, that's what gives the district its unique energy.
This is where the visual study gets really interesting, I think. You've got this sharp 21st century symbol.
Right.
And literally at its feet, you find places like Battery Park, Wall Street, the South Street Seaport. You can walk through centuries in just a few minutes. It's kind of wild.
And if you look at the architecture, it tells the story. Wall Street, for example. Think about those buildings.
Neoclassical, right. Heavy stone.
Exactly. Heavy stone facades, columns, very grounded. They were designed to communicate permanence, stability, financial seriousness. Built to last.
And then, bam, right out of that old grid, you have the sleek, almost weightless glass towers of modern finance.
It's a totally different message. One is about solemn power. The other is about, I don't know, speed, boundless possibility, rapid movement, maybe.
And that contrast carries over to the seaport, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. You move from those concrete canyons of finance, and suddenly you're on cobblestones. In the old shipping district,
Yeah.
those low-slung Federalist-style buildings, they show you the human scale of early New York. The wharves, the small shops. You can almost picture the hustle of the sailing ships.
That blend of eras, that's what makes being in it so dynamic. You're constantly shifting between scales, the huge monumental scale of the new towers and the intimate historic scale of the streets.
And let's just shift our gaze slightly. Instead of looking up, let's look outward from the pavement, maybe from Battery Park specifically.
Okay, towards the water.
Towards the water. Because that view is just incredibly symbolic. You're looking right at Liberty Island, Ellis Island.
Yeah, the entry point.
Exactly. It anchors the whole experience right back into the city's foundational story, immigration, beginnings.
That view is so important. It reminds you, doesn't it, that all this vertical growth, this massive modern skyline, it's all built on that human scale history. You're seeing past and future together.
Perfectly framed. And you have these timeless icons holding it all together. The Statue of Liberty's silhouette, the massive stone structure of the Brooklyn Bridge.
They're like counterweights to all the glass.
Exactly. They're the constants. They define the harbor no matter how high the new towers reach. They ground the view.
And the sources also mention the ferries, constantly moving, crisscrossing the harbor.
Yeah, the water taxis, the Staten Island Ferry, that constant motion. It proves the city isn't static. It's not a museum.
Right. It's a living machine. Layers of activity happening right now, layered onto centuries of history.
Which brings us to a key question, really, for you, the listener. Why does this dual experience matter so much? Why do the sources insist on showing us both Hoboken and Manhattan?
Well, I think when you put the two together, when you synthesize them, that core contrast really snaps into focus. It's not just about a pretty view. It's a deliberately constructed experience. The whole journey captures these two distinct ways of appreciating the city. You've got the peaceful admiration from across the river in Hoboken.
Right, the calm before the storm almost.
And then the dynamic immersion you feel standing right downtown.
So the main takeaway here is that the city really demands different things from you, depending on your vantage point. Distance gives you that abstraction, the clarity, the architectural whole.
Yeah, the big picture.
While proximity gives you the context, the grit, the detail, the clash of old and new, the noise, the energy, the human story baked into the streets.
So those celebrated contrasts, tranquility versus energy, history versus modernity, the view from afar versus the feeling up close, that's really what defines this whole experience.
We often try to simplify our feeling about a big city into just one thing, don't we? But this deep dive shows it's much more complex.
It seems like the geography itself, the monumental form, forces you to engage with these shifting relationships, history, finance, growth, from totally different emotional standpoints.
Well put. It's defined by those evolving relationships.
Absolutely. So we started across the river, the Mile Square City, taking in that calm cinematic view, all gold and pink light.
The prelude.
Then we dove right into the towering reality of Lower Manhattan, grappling with One World Trade's dominance, but also the weight of those historic cobblestone streets below.
It's a fantastic illustration of how place shapes feeling, how the urban landscape really dictates our emotional response.
It really is. Now here's a final thought for you to chew on, building on these sources. We mentioned this whole journey was just part one of the Skyline tour in our material.
All right, there's more.
There's more. The next part apparently continues north along the East River and then crosses the bridges to view Manhattan from Brooklyn.
Okay, interesting. A new angle.
So the question is, if Hoboken gave us that tranquil cinematic prelude and Lower Manhattan gave us the dynamic immersion, what unique perspective, what previously unseen angles might be revealed when the geography forces us to look back across the East River? When we see this monumental cityscape from Brooklyn with the historical weight of its bridges in the foreground.
That's a good question. What does that perspective add to the story?
Exactly. Something worth exploring next time.